Now, I think people tend to do this next step before they do the other ones in the previous two videos in this series of how to pack for cold weather camping. Now, this is, again, just my methodology. First, you want to go ahead and figure out what your sleep system is, right? You get your tent, get your sleeping bags and all that stuff, right? I think that is really where it should start, because that's where you're going to end the day, and that's probably where you're going to recuperate your energy. And if you don't have a good night's sleep, then it's just going to suck, okay? So focus on your sleep system first. Second, I think you should choose what is your method of carrying. Now, this could be limiting, depend on what you have. I'm not saying you need to go out and purposely buy something, you know, especially if you're car camping, which if you're new to winter camping, I suggest that you car camp first before you do any type of backpacking somewhere. Because then you have your plan A, plan B, and if nothing else, plan C in your truck, your car, or vehicle, right? Or you could just have plan B in your vehicle, which is what I plan on doing as well, okay? But if you start out with this next step, which is talking about your clothing, which I think that's where a lot of people think, because that's what we do when we pack for vacation or something, all right? We pack all of our clothes. We figure that out first. But if you try to focus on your clothing first, then you might overpack, all right? Maybe not. Especially if you're an experienced camper, this might not be the case. But if you are trying to stay in a particular size bag, right, then those limitations can honestly help you from not overpacking or packing things that you don't necessarily need. Winter camping is a little bit different though, because you always want to slightly overpack or overprepare than what you would during warm weather camping. All right, now to start off, what I suggest that you do is you put it in various different piles. You have your, first of all, what you're going to wear on your way out to the event, right? What you wear underneath, right, your base layer, things like that. What you're going to wear during the day, during the night, your innerwear, your middle layers, and your outerwear. Okay, so that sounds like a lot, but let me break it down for you, what I have here on the table. So over here, in this pile, these are things that I am going to take and wear on the day that I actually leave and arrive, okay? These are like all my base layers, and there are two types of campers. There are people who like to change their clothes every day. They like to change their underwear and everything. Or there's the other type of camper, which is like me, and I learned this through scouting. I did this through reenacting. It's not for everybody, and some of you might think it's fairly unhygienic. But especially when you're considering your weight and what you're carrying and your space and things like that, generally speaking, you don't need to take fresh clothes for everything, right? Having an extra pair of socks or two, that's one thing, right? Because you always want to take care of your feet, and your feet's going to sweat. You don't want it to get wet. You don't want it to freeze, things like that, okay? But when it comes to your other layers of clothing, you could pretty much get away with just having an extra shirt. Maybe underwear, maybe, you know, or having an extra pair of pants in case you fall, depending on what pants that you take. If you're taking cotton pants, that's easily going to get wet. It's going to be very difficult to dry, especially in cold weather. Then having an extra pair of pants would be good. However, if you are taking material that isn't going to soak in, isn't going to be very difficult to dry out in cold weather or something like that, then you can get away with just wearing one, all right? So back to what I am taking. Now, up top are my suspenders because of the type of pants that I'm taking. It also has belt loops, so I'll be wearing my belt as well. I have my wool socks. Now, these are thick, heavy-duty, smart wool socks, right? Now, I love these things. They wick out. They keep your feet warm. I use these during my hunting season and everything. I really, really enjoy these. Okay, now these ones are your standard boot length. I actually have another pair that I'm going to wear on Saturday that is longer, because I might be getting more in the snow, so I don't want that to get caught up in my breeches. But just starting out, these ones will do just fine. Then I have what's called your base layer, right? That's the layer that's closest to your skin that does a tremendous amount of work in keeping you warm. You don't want it necessarily made out of cotton, because if cotton gets wet from your sweat or something, then that's going to make you colder. It's going to draw heat away from your body. You want the opposite. You want heat to stay in, but you also want to make sure that it can wick outward if you do sweat, okay? So these are nothing really fancy. I went to my big box store, my Walmart, and this season when I took my kids hunting, and I got all of us a set of thermal underwear, and these are the, what do they call them? The Realtree brand, okay? So they're kind of expensive as far as like regular clothes goes, but it's not as expensive as like premium underwear or base layers, right? You can get pretty fancy with it. And I was really surprised at how well these did work. Staying in the blind, you're just sitting for hours on end. So that means your blood's not pumping or moving around. And I stayed very comfortable along with my kids. So go to your big box store if nothing else and get something like this. Okay, so these, I only have one pair. I'm going to wear the same pair for the entire weekend. Again, I'm that guy, all right? I'm going to wear a cotton long sleeve shirt on my way out there. Now you might be thinking, but Sean, you always talk about wool. Yes, and I do have a couple wool long sleeve shirts, but they're more like summer weight. I have this one that I'm wearing right now, which I could wear, but as long as, like I said, cotton doesn't get wet, then it's very warm. And I also don't want you guys thinking that you have to buy the best or the fanciest of things all the time. I want to make sure that this is an approachable hobby for you and to demonstrate for you that you don't have to go out and spend a tremendous amount of money. So this is just a cotton long sleeve shirt. It's heavier duty, right? But with my base layer wicking away closest to my skin, I'm not too worried about this getting wet. And I have my outer layers as well that's going to protect it, so it's not like snow or something's going to get on it and get it wet, which again is going to draw the heat away from my body. So there is my cotton long sleeve shirt. Now, I have a pair of Woolrich breeches, and I love these things. They work really well. They go tight to your leg, down below, around your calf, and I've never had an issue with being cold, at least in my lower half, wearing these. Okay, so these are my wool breeches. If you don't have breeches and you're going to be spending some time in the snow and things, then I would suggest that you go to your farm store or someplace like that and get yourself some heavy duty snow pants, right? That way, when you kneel down or something, you're not going to get wet, you stay warm and toasty. Having wool, I can kneel down on this and they will get wet, but because of the heat retention of wool, I'm not worried, especially since it's in my lower half, I'm not really too worried about being super cold in my legs with that. Okay, so these are the things that I am wearing on the day out there. Now, I've got other things broken down as far as how I'm going to pack it and how I'm going to wear it. Some of this stuff I will wear also on my way down, so it's not going to take up space in my pack, right? So focusing on the things that I will take in my pack, let's proceed. I have my Saturday socks. These are smart wool socks, but notice how long they are. Like these are really, really long. So they will cover up that part of my calf that's going to be somewhat exposed because that's just how breeches are. And I don't have knee length boots. So I have a pair of really long socks. I have my Sunday pair of socks. And I also have my sleeping socks. Now my sleeping socks are 100% wool. Now what I do before I go to bed is I make sure my feet are completely dry, and I also put foot powder on my feet right before I go to bed, and then I put my nice wool socks on before I tuck myself in. Because if your feet get cold, then it's going to be really hard to sleep. If you use cotton socks and you're going to sweat at night, right, then your feet could get cold. So if at all possible, find yourself some wool socks. These are like the cheap rag wool kind, right? Or invest in smart wool or something like that. But just make sure that your socks are really dry. And again, put them on, use some foot powder. It'll help dry out your feet and prepare them for the following day and soothe them, especially after long days of hiking and stuff. So I have my socks. And then I have my next day's shirt. So this or the shirt that I'm wearing on the way out there will be the ones that I wear on Sunday back. I'm not going to change my shirt unless I absolutely need to, right? And having another extra shirt as an extra layer or whatever is just a nice precaution. But more or less, I might or might not use this shirt. Now this is the wool shirt from Nathaniel Logs in the early 20th I always say that. 20th Century Adventures. If you go to Logsdon & Co., this is their hunting shirt, and he gifted this to me to review, and I've used it, and I'm going to use it again this weekend because it's pretty awesome. It's wool, and it's thicker, it's heavier. It's not like my summer weight wool shirts, all right? Now, these are the items that are going to be packed away in my pack. There's going to be one more thing that I would suggest that you use, and I'm actually going to create another video about that, but you have that as a possible extra layer, especially to protect you against wind, if that's the case, protect you against heavy snow. Even though wool will keep off snow from your body, you really don't want it to get wet. So to that end, I suggest that you get yourself a poncho or some type of rain gear or something like this. Recently, One Wind partnered with me, asked me if I'd collaborate with them and try out their poncho shelter, which is pretty cool. There's some features to this. It's really nice, and I'm going to put it through the mill. Nice thing about getting free things from companies is you can treat them a little rough and give your honest feedback about it, and you don't feel guilty about spending your own money. So I'm going to treat this fairly rough this weekend, and that way I can give you guys some feedback. But I'm not going to use this as a shelter. Having yourself some type of poncho or some type of rain gear, again, that way you can put it over you. It's crazy how much warmer you feel when you have something just like this. Okay, so this is also going to go in my pack. So all said and done, these are the things that are going in my pack as far as clothing. Not a whole lot, right? Now, when we talk about your other layers, I'm taking this, this might go in my pack. It depends on how warm it is on Friday when I go out there. But I'm taking a vest, because if you can keep your core warm, then you'll be all right. You know, your digits, your fingers, your toes, your ears, like your nose, all these different things actually draw blood away from it to keep your core warm. So if you can keep your core warm, you're actually going to keep your fingers warm, your toes warm, and other parts of your body a lot warmer, as long as this area right here is nice and toasty. So drinking some hot beverages, eating hot food, things like that will help you keep your core warm during cold weather. So I have a vest, may or may not use it, I'm not sure, but I also have this 100% wool shawl color sweater. Now, all the old timers in the early 20th century swear by sweaters. Kephart did, Nesmith did, Caves did, like all of them. So if you got all these old guys telling you that sweaters are actually more versatile than, say, outerwear like a Mackinac or something like that, then I probably listen. And I agree with them. And I believe, especially if you're going to be moving about or doing some type of chores or something, having layers is more important than having just one really heavy-duty coat. Because once you take it off, soon enough, you're going to be cold, especially if you are wet. Again, you're going to make yourself sick, draw temperature away from your core, etc. So I have this shawl collar sweater. And this is made by Eddie Bauer, probably from the 60s or 70s or something like that. These things are awesome. I love how comfortable this is. It's my old man sweater, as my wife likes to tell me. So this in my vest is that middle layer between my base layer, my shirt, and then my outer layer. Okay, so these two can be combined, or one or the other, to keep my core warm and keep me able to still move about. Now, the next thing I have, I'm really excited about, because I've always wanted one. And this was a gift to me from Chase over out west, and he's on the guild. He's also a scouter, and he gifted me this beautiful Scout red jacket. And since I'm going on a Klondike, Scout Klondike and everything, I'm going to represent and wear this. And this is an extra large. It fits wonderfully over all my other things, including my sweater, and I could still move about. And this is 85% wool. Not 100% wool, but 85% or higher is good. You don't want anything really less than 85%. It really starts to deplete its value as far as keeping yourself warm, especially if it gets wet, the lower than you get with that. So I have my red Boy Scout Jack shirt, and to finally top it all off, I have this bruiser here. Now this is blanket weight wool. It's not lined, it's not padded or anything. It is just basically a blanket. Okay, this is my World War I reproduction Mackinac from What Price Glory. Scouts in the early 20th century, even into the 1930s, actually duplicated this exact jacket. They're extremely rare. Like if you find one, you let me know. But you got yourself something highly valuable if you find an actual Scout Mackinac like this. But it's got a shawl collar, just like my sweater, so I can put it up and I can wrap it around my face. And if I get too cold, even in my sleep system, I can throw this on me and put that, and I am completely enclosed. So it's just another layer of warmth. I could throw this, I'm mostly going to use this as a pillow, right? But if I do get cold, it could be a layer inside, even just around my feet or around my legs or something like that. So there we have my Mackinac. In the description box below, I have some affiliate links, and if What Price Glory has the Mackinac in stock, the affiliate link will be below for you to check it out, because it is a nice, if you know what I'm saying. Now, the last things that you want to consider are your head and your hands, right? You want to make sure that those are covered. So for that, I have some gloves. I was tempted to take my military surplus wool finger gloves and the leather covering, especially since I'm going about in the woods, but I don't think I'm going to be doing any kind of work like that. So I figured I'll just leave those behind. Instead, I'm taking my hunting gloves like these. They're not quite as versatile, but they are actually warmer than just the wool mitts along with the leather covering. So I've got my gloves here. I have my beanie, right? And I also have my trapper hat. Now, I'm taking both. I really don't need to take both, but the reason why I'm taking both is because I like to cover my eyes with my beanie when I go to sleep. It just helps me go to sleep a little bit better. I don't know if the original trapper hats actually had little snaps or buttons so you could do the same. It seems kind of silly to have this up here and not be able to bring it down to cover your face. But anyhow, this does a really good job of covering my ears, and I can snap it so it's not going to come off as I'm rolling about in my little Haven tent. So I will have this one on first and this on top, and this will cover my eyes and of course add some more warmth to that. Lastly, not necessarily, if you, especially since I have the shawl collar and stuff, but having a scarf is rather versatile for lots of things, right? Like I could put this over my head like so and wrap it around me in case I don't have my beanie or something like that, or it's just too warm for the beanie but not so warm that my ears are getting uncomfortably cold or something like that. I could wrap this around my neck. I could fold it up like so, and I can rest my hands in it and use it kind of like a little muff. It's like I said, it's not necessary. I'm taking it because I'm car camping, so why not? And it doesn't take up a whole lot of space, especially since the stuff I'm taking in my pack really isn't a whole lot to begin with. You know, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Now, if you have some suggestions on how you break it down, then please put in the chat box. I love to hear what you guys had to say from your own experiences. I know other people read the comments, so you'll be helping them out as well. But just as a recap, what I like to do is I like to break them down. I have the things that I am going to wear to the event itself, right? Then I have the things that, I'm going to pack for the following day, or something that I'm not going to necessarily wear while I'm out there, right? Then I have my medium wear, and then I have my outerwear. And most of this I'll probably wear as soon as I get there. I might not wear it in my truck on my way to the event, but once I get to the event, I'm going to start layering up and moving about and doing what I need to do. And it also saves space in my pack for when I have to hike it to the campsite. Then don't forget your gloves and other incidentals. Have something like this. Now the reason why I am taking this as well, and my first video, I think I used my Civil War gum blanket. I'm actually going to swap out my gum blanket for this. So this is going to be what I'm going to be using on the ground when I'm getting out of my tent and I need someplace dry to step on or something like that. And just to see if pokes any holes or has any issues or things like that, and see how well it does. But it packs really small, which is really nice. It also has some stakes and a few other odds and ends that, again, I'll save for another video. But if you like this, please click like. It helps other people find it. We really appreciate it. It helps us out. If you check out the description box below, you're going to see a bunch of different links along with all my affiliate links. But you'll also see one that I suggest you check it out, and that is the Preston Mess Kit, which I will tell you about in the next video with all the incidentals and things that I'm going to pack, or maybe the following after it. But anyhow, the Preston Mess Kit is a pretty awesome piece of kit. Trying to get it reproduced, need 500 people. So check out the link, see if it's a good fit for you, read the article, watch the video at the end of this video, and let me know. Let me know. I appreciate it. You will also find the link to the Camp Crafters Guild, because if it wasn't for the Camp Crafters Guild, then I just don't know as much as I could have, or vice versa. Because the Camp Crafters Guild's got a lot of people on there that are sharing their experiences, their knowledge, and it's just a great community of people. And it has events, it has a bunch of other resources, it has a massive library, tons of research. So check it out, www.honorableoutfitters.com/join the guild. Now, if you would like to see the Preston Mess Kit video, then check it out here. If you'd like to see my playlist of vintage camping gear and camping in general, then check it out here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss and hug to your loved ones, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.